The planning conversation starts here on the Income Protection Podcast. Here's your host, Mike Cogdall and Grayson Owen.
All right, Mike, back for episode 5. How we doing, my friend?
Doing fantastic, Grayson. What's happening with you? We finally got springtime weather here, 75 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. Things are good. Life is busy. How about yourself?
Awesome. Yeah, weather's taking a turn here. We had a short winter in Savannah, and I'm sporting the Hawaiian shirt today, getting ready for some spring break and channeling my inner Jimmy Buffett vibes. So that's where we are today, Mike. So, and I wanted to come into this episode with high spirits since we're going to be chatting up about the industry numbers today, the LIMRA numbers.
Well, first, let's tell the viewers, LIMRA, what we get quarterly and then on an annual basis are the published numbers of the amount of disability by product line. So business, products, individual, everything. They just send out the annual numbers on how much was written, and then they kind of drill down a little bit more on whether it was a guarantee issue, a guaranteed renewable, so on and so forth. Anyway, we won't go deep into that. We are going to have a discussion about where this industry is today, which is, February 28th, end of the month, 2025, and then where we think these numbers are going in the future and where they can go. So what do you think?
I think that's well said. And obviously there's some ups and downs as there are with every year whenever I, see these reports and start looking at the numbers. But overall, Mike, I think that there is opportunity in these numbers, no matter which way you kind of look at it, is that if you're a advisor or broker out there and you're looking to build a DI business, I think now might be better time than ever before for a variety of reasons, which we'll get into. Yeah. So Mike, with the individual disability insurance production numbers from 23 into 2024, there were clearly some ups and downs for some carriers. What are your initial thoughts in seeing the annual numbers there?
Thanks, Grayson. And my initial thought is I've been doing the podcast with you now for 5 episodes. And previously, I've always kind of looked at the numbers for at least the last 5 or 6 years and actually paid somewhat attention to those numbers. And this seems to be a consistent trend on where we're heading. And I don't know why, but there is absolutely a trend in where we're heading. I think you and I can have a discussion a little bit later on about business products, but let's just stick with what the first and foremost product is, and that's individual disability insurance, paycheck insurance, to take care of you, yourself as an individual, your family, that pot of money, as we call it, or that bag of money, I should say. What were the numbers? So
the gross premium production in 2024, based on these numbers, is coming out at $479,785,890. So, $479 million for individual disability insurance.
And then what was the previous year?
2023 was a little bit higher there at $494 million and change. So about a 3% dip from 2023 to 2024.
So put this in perspective. We have 350 million Americans, give or take. We probably have a workforce of 180 million. So it's about, less than $2 per person sold for disability insurance in America. I'm just ballparking a number here, but just to put it in perspective, it's pretty small. It's a pretty small number that's not growing. And my first question to you today is this. Major question is, what do you think attributes to the no growth?
Well, there's 2 things. One is the micro of our brokers and advisors that are on the ground with clients really creating awareness and having consistent conversations. So that's the micro lens. And then there's the macro lens where, what I learned in college and studied in college, and one of my first sales jobs was advertising sales, Mike. So advertising 101, I probably took sophomore, junior year in college. And I look at this industry from a macro lens, thinking about advertising 101. How do we get the message to consumers so that they're aware? Because if you and I If we need to, clean our windows, we know that we have to go to Walmart and go pick up a bottle of Windex so we can go clean our windows, period. That's how it is. Clients don't really think about needing to protect their income, so they don't know to go buy disability insurance. So there is a macro need from the carriers, the BGAs, and the producers to have an advertising 101, a message going out to consumers at all levels so that there's more broad awareness, because the kitchen table discussions where the agents and brokers can sit across from clients from time to time and have this conversation is probably not doing it. And if all of those brokers and advisors, if less and less of them are having the conversation to begin with, that's where these numbers are going to stay stagnant or begin to fall. That's my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Well, I agree 100%. And it always comes back to, you and I have already said, this is episode 5. We probably said in 3 of the 5 episodes, awareness. Speaking to anybody, and you and I talk about this ad nauseum. I mean, we just keep harping on this is, our competition is not one another, or a broker's competition, is not with another broker. The world has become, this, assets under management. It really has. That's what we talk about when you think of financial services. Almost first and foremost in today's world is, assets under management. You've heard us both say, the bottom of the financial planning triangle is the risk protection. And that's where disability insurance comes from, where paycheck insurance comes from. I've always said, just a quick little sales idea here, you can go get the financial planning triangle anywhere off of any internet site in the world. Google, I don't care who uses your browser. And if you take that triangle, I used to laugh, but I used to do this when I was a little more cheesy than I am now. Well, maybe not. Maybe still just as cheesy as I've always been. But at the bottom of that risk assessment triangle is health insurance, homeowners or property casualty insurance, life insurance, health insurance, if I've already said that, and basically paycheck insurance or disability income. And that's the foundation of everything. The pyramid in Egypt, that's the base. That's how it stands up. And I used to tell people, if you're not sure how to talk to a client about this, just take that piece of paper out. It's compliance approved everywhere. Turn it upside down and say, can this triangle or this pyramid, if you will, if you turn it upside down, can it stand? Will it stay up? Will it stay upright?
Yeah, no way. It's going to fall over one side or the other.
It just can't stay up. So that being put simply, why would you spend all of your time and energy planning to retire when in 3 months from now something happens to you and you don't even have a paycheck coming in to put money towards retirement, let alone pay your grocery bill, let alone pay your mortgage? So again, you're going to hear us over and over. This is paramount to all financial planning, constantly. And back to the LIMRA numbers, if you're at 490 million, and I can guarantee you way back 15 or 20 years ago, the number was more like 650 or 700 million, all carriers. I mean, when I started, that number just went up exponentially, like 15 or 20% every year, and kept growing. And we've already had this discussion, Grayson. Back then, it was a ton of life insurance agents, is what they called themselves, and very few stockbrokers, which were actually asset accumulators for retirement. And not just retirement, because they used life insurance back then for retirement at some level and things like that. But you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And, a stockbroker basically was your, asset under management person. That's completely inverse now. So if you look at these numbers and take a positive approach to it, or a positive look at where we're going, it's the road less traveled once again. What a perfect time to create a business or start a business that is so needed in this industry, but yet nobody's really talking about it. You have the opportunity to become a specialist in this particular market, and just work with, first, people that are non-insurance licensed, RIAs. There's a lot of people out there that are non-insurance licensed anymore, and become their resident expert. And that's one of the things that we will impress upon our listeners over and over again. And we had Jamie Fleischner, again, thank you, Jamie, last week on, who's been a life insurance or a disability insurance producer for a very long time, and said that if you don't do it yourself, find somebody that can do it for you, because the risk to your client does not change.
There you go.
So, I mean, that's kind of where we are. You can look at the numbers. Some carriers just got banged last year or walloped. I don't know how else to put it. Others had decent years, but for the most part, across the board, it was pretty flat per carrier, kind of. I think that's fair to say.
I think so too. And, to take things a step further, in this being a great opportunity for an insurance licensed professional or financial services professional that wants to go build a DI focused practice, it is a pretty easy formula to focus on. You have an underserved market. And then if you're willing to go do the work that a lot of folks are not willing to do right now, and you repeat it over a long period of time, you will find success. It's that simple.
And let's be candid here. You don't need a PhD to do this.
That's true.
You just don't need a PhD. I'll say it twice to do this. If you have conviction, understanding of what's at risk, which doesn't really take a long time to learn, it takes a little while to convey that knowledge that you have to others, because a lot of people just don't see it. But, you can look all around and you will see, disability insurance every day. I had to go get a calcium test today, right? So I run out to the hospital and I got to get this little calcium test. Everything's fine, by the way. I'm good, but I got my physicals and that was part of it and got all my stuff done in the last week. My point here, short story long, is this. That room at the hospital was packed. It was packed. I always walk in and I'm just in amazement at how many people are sitting in a hospital waiting to be seen for something. So I know it doesn't change. It's around us everywhere. I'll use another analogy real quick. Go to Walmart, go to Super Target, go to wherever you go. And all the blue signs in the front are always taken. Blue sign is for somebody that's disabled, right? Now walk into the store, go up and down the aisles, and you tell me which person that is or which group of people, because there's maybe 10 at my Publix. Tell me which 10 are disabled. So it's secret and it's often hidden. People do not oftentimes brag about their disability. So for you to take the opportunity and go, again, down the road less traveled, you'll hear me say it 1,000 times, just like you hear the crystal ball over and over. We got to make the point over and over that if you go look around, I can't walk up to somebody in the store and go, are you the one that's got the good parking spot? Because they're not going to tell me. But I don't know what's wrong with them, but there's a very good chance maybe they're not working at all and haven't for some time, and they could be 40 years of age. They're still active in life at some level, but they're not working. So these LIMRA numbers, to me, are a reflection on what we need to go do. We need to help take this thing from this 490 to 550 to 600 to 700. And I think that there's an opportunity for so many young people, young producers out there, or people that are interested in this particular profession, to go do it. And you can really, really make a career for yourself.
Yep.
What do you think?
I think no doubt about that, Mike. This is what I would consider the biggest opportunity in the insurance and financial services profession for whoever's willing to put in the work to go specialize in this product. And to take things a step further in referencing the LIMRA numbers, a market that I hold near and dear to my heart is the business market. I love that market. A lot of the brokers and advisors that I work with are dedicated in that market as well. So a lot of the cases that I'm touching on a day-to-day basis are in that business owner planning market or small business owner market. But when we look at those numbers, there was a big drop with a lot of those product lines. And if you look at the policy count as well, not only the premium dollars, but the policy count on some of these product lines, they're pretty light. And I think we're missing the mark there. And I try to get loud about these solutions on LinkedIn. I do lots of videos about this. You know that. And I like to have fun with it and bring a lot of this to light. But we know that there is so much more insurance planning being done in these markets, especially on the life insurance side. And we know that there's financial advisors serving these business owners in the assets under management space as well. So we really need to get louder about helping business owners with these business DI solutions out there. What's your initial take, Mike, after seeing the numbers in the small business or the business DI products?
Here's what makes me think about the small business owner. And you might chuckle here a little bit, but I don't know how many towns are in the United States of America. No idea. I could probably look it up real quick, but I don't have, what's his name, Jamie, Joe Rogan's guy, to look it up real fast and go back and tell me. So sorry about that. But I mean, how many small towns are in America? No idea. But my point here is this. every single small town has a main street. And on that main street is 5 businesses per block or 6, both sides. So that's 10. Say it's 5 blocks long. So we've got 10 businesses for 5. We've got 50 businesses, 50 small businesses. It could be a chocolatier. It could be somebody selling napkins and party favors. It could be a small jewelry store. And we can go on and on and on. And everybody that's out there listening today, whether you live in a city, a suburb, or a small town, think about that. And then think about this. How many of those 50 business owners, because they all own their business, have ever been talked to about the need for income protection and the protection of that small business that you've worked so diligently and so hard to make work, to provide for you and your family, have never heard the word disability insurance? Just as an example, like maybe business overhead expense or key person, both pretty fundamental and good business products. We don't care about premium at this point. How many policies?
Yep. So business overhead expense, number of policies sold in 2024 are being reported as 2,879.
So you're telling me there's 2,879 businesses in America?
That's what these numbers are saying, Mike. And the key person numbers, the total between the 2 domestic U.S.-based carriers is 244 for the year. And then I'll just also run through the disability buy-sell coverage, disability buyout insurance. The 2024 total number was 580 policies. So we know very well that there's so many businesses in this market. I call it the nearly limitless opportunity. But obviously, from these numbers, we're missing the mark here, which is why I believe that any advisor or broker that's willing to go put in the time to go serve this market, it is a huge opportunity, not only to grow your business, but to do the right thing by serving these markets. And Mike, the small business market is the backbone of the U.S. economy. That's what's always been said, right? And
we're ever told.
So what better market to go serve as a financial or insurance professional? I really believe in that.
So that's where these numbers for you and I, not going deep on numbers and being analytical, it just once again illustrates how you can turn disability insurance and its portfolio into a career, or at least the best part-time job you ever had.
There's no question about that. And yeah, I'll just echo those comments that any broker or advisor that is willing to put in the work to learn these strategies and to just go have the conversations with the clients, you're creating a competitive advantage for your practice that you're building, and you don't have much competition as of right now. And so anybody who's willing to get after it, I would encourage you to do so. Now is the time, and these businesses need your help.
And I would say one more thing. After last week's podcast with Jamie, it was interesting when we talked about she does disability, leads with disability, sells a lot of disability. We already understood that. But when we asked about the life insurance question, what was her answer?
I believe that she was selling almost as many life insurance policies, even though she was approaching the disability insurance conversation as the primary topic most times. But life insurance would always come up, it seemed.
Exactly, because that's what the client, your potential client will do, is ask you the question after they understand this particular risk is, what else do you do? They're always going to ask, what else do you do?
Yep. And a lot of these products can be sold or recommended in tandem. So, for example, if you have a 35-year-old and a 47-year-old and they're business partners of some type of local small business in your town, well, maybe you've helped them with key person life insurance, or maybe they've been told by their advisory team that they need life insurance for buy-sell agreement funding. Well, if you go in there and talk about the death risk, don't forget to also talk about the disability risk, because a lot of times if that type of company and owners are reliant on receiving dollars coming in the door in the event an owner passes away prematurely, I'm willing to bet that they have a similar financial liability and exposure if there's a total disability. So having that discussion in tandem is a no-brainer.
You know, and I've said this for a very long time, and I think this is where we can pretty much end it today with our listening audience, is your homework, and you don't have to do homework, by the way, but we've just talked about this, that if you're in financial services and you have 25 businesses or 30 businesses and you're 15 years into it, or 40 businesses, and you heard this today and have never done this, no sweat. You can tell somebody, and it's a simple text or an email that say, I just learned something today on a podcast and I owe you a conversation. Enough said.
That's it. That's it. And most of those clients, if not all of those clients, are going to thank you for the conversation. We want to make sure clients are informed so that they have the opportunity to say yes.
And I think that's where we leave it today.
Great conversation today, Mike. Appreciate it. And look forward to our next one, man.
I look forward to it too. Enjoy the weekend, my friend.
And remember, financial planning starts with a risk protection package first.
And your clients are counting on you. See you on the show next time.
All right, my friend. Be well.